You're a new editor and wondering if the way you edit is the most sufficient, or if perhaps there are easier ways of doing it. Well, don't worry, because today I will show you 8 tips that you can implement right now that not only will save you a lot of time, but also increase the quality of your edits by a lot. Now, when I started editing about 2 years ago, I wish I knew about these steps, because implementing them would have saved my life and made editing a lot easier. So make sure to listen carefully, get your notebook and follow along what I'm saying. We're gonna start with scene packs. Now, scene packs are a way easier way of getting clips of your favorite character than just downloading the whole movie and getting your clips from YouTube separately. Now, what scene packs are is basically just a compilation of a character from a whole movie, meaning that you have the most important scenes of a selected character in there and you don't have to search them out yourself. So it's way easier for you to, once you've edited to your timeline, then search out clips that you like of your character and you don't have to go on YouTube or download the whole movie and cut the clips out yourself. Also, your edit is going to turn out in a higher quality because, as you can imagine, if you get clips from different sources, they're all going to have a different resolution. And if it's only a tiny bit that changes, you can still see it at the end in your edit, and that's what you don't want. So I recommend you to search Instagram accounts that upload such scene packs. There's loads of different scene pack accounts that focus on different genres. And if you want to follow my scene pack account that I run, where I upload high quality scene packs of your favorite characters, you can find a link to that in the description. Now, another benefit is not only the time that it saves you, but the organization of your clips. Just imagine downloading a lot of clips from different sources and then saving them on your PC. As you might imagine, this can get quite messy and take up a lot of disk space. So if your disk space looks something like this, you definitely want to go ahead and download some scene packs. Now, the next tip is gonna be installing the right plugins. Now, if you just began editing on After Effects, you probably already heard the word plugin a lot, so I'm gonna explain it to you. Why we editors like to use plugins is basically because After Effects doesn't contain a lot of standard effects. So if you want to have a cool color correction, shakes or text effects, I strongly advise you to get yourself some plugins. The most popular ones are probably gonna be Deep Glow, BCC, Sapphire and Lux. Now, you might have searched them up and came up on the conclusion that they're way too expensive for you. And I know this might be shocking at first, but don't worry, on my Discord server I have all the links and there's also people who are gonna help you install them and guide you through the process and explain to you what each plugin does. So make sure to not miss out on this opportunity and join via the link in the description. And once you've installed all these plugins, you're gonna realize that it's like a whole new world opening up. When I talk to After Effects beginners, I usually get the most confusion when I try to explain graphs. Now, what many people don't understand is that graphs are absolutely essential for your edit to look good. Not adding graphs is going to immensely drop the quality of your edit and the overall look of it. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't have to add graphs everywhere, but it's highly advised to add graphs at certain points to make your movement look a lot smoother. But what even are graphs? Now, there's two different types of graphs that you want to focus on, which are value graphs and speed graphs. Now, what they do, they basically adjust the timing and speed of your animations. So by adjusting your graph, you can decide whether your animation is supposed to start fast and end slow, or to start slow and end fast. This is only a brief explanation, so be creative and experiment with the graphs a bit. Don't just leave them out. These are some good examples that you can use for your edits, but as I said, it's going to be dependent on what look you want to achieve, and therefore it's going to change. If you want your animation to be fast at the beginning, you can use this kind of graph. And if you want it to be fast at the end, you can use this graph. Note that the examples I showed you are value graphs, which you can select by right-clicking onto your graph editor and selecting value graph. Now, when marking beats, I see so many people struggle because they just go ahead, play the audio and listen to where the beat drops. Obviously, adding your beat drops like this is gonna be inaccurate, and a proper way to do it is to right-click onto your sound, go onto Keyframe Assistant and hit Convert Audio into Keyframes. Once you've done that, you should see that there's a new layer that opened, and when pressing U to bring up the keyframes, you can now select both channels and then open your graph editor. Now, as you see, now there are loads of spikes showing, and every time you have a spike, you know that there's a beat drop. If you want an in-depth tutorial on how to mark beats for your edits, make sure to check my pull-on guide. It's linked in the top right corner right now. So if you have been getting a lot of hate comments telling you your edits are offbeat, make sure to use this method. Now, shortcuts are probably gonna be the most time efficient thing that you can use for your edits. Let me tell you why. Using these shortcuts doesn't just help you by shortening up the process of doing certain tasks, but it also helps your mind to stay within that editing workflow. Meaning that every time you edit and you have to operate a certain action while not using a shortcut, your mind is gonna get out of that flow state of editing. If you use a shortcut instead, the task is instantly gonna be done and you don't have to worry about these things. If you now wonder where you can find all the shortcuts to After Effects on Mac and Windows, don't worry, because I'll be leaving a link to that in the description, and you can also find it on my Discord server. Now, to get to the most important step, we're gonna have to talk about color corrections. Now, as the name already says, a color correction corrects the color of your clip. So by adding certain effects, just like sharpen and magic bullet looks, you can improve the way your edit looks. So it's a good opportunity if you struggle with low input quality to add a color correction later on and boost it to the top. Now, if you wonder where to get such a color correction, make sure to check the first link in the description because I'm still running a huge sale on my shop. You can get my presets for way cheaper, and it's a good opportunity, as I said, to boost the quality of your edits to the top. You don't want to miss it, so check it out. And if you want to make a color correction yourself, you can also check out my full color correction guide, which is also linked in the top right corner. But note that it's gonna be really hard if you're a beginner to get the right color correction. It's a hard process that you have to go through, and it comes with a lot of experience. So your best bet is to get a professional color correction created by a professional editor. Which one you get is absolutely up to you and your personal preferences. Now, one of the most essential steps is gonna be creating animation presets. If how you've been editing is to just create random keyframes and effects for every edit you do, let me introduce you to animation presets. By creating an animation preset, you can just save the effect you did once and apply it to every other edit that you might do in the future. So it's a huge lifesaver, and I wish I knew this earlier. And the way of creating one is also pretty forward. Just select all the keyframes, head to the top row, and under animation, select save as animation preset. Now just give it a name, save it, and every time you make a new edit, you can just drag it onto your clip and keep using it. You can do this for every effect, so stop creating different effects for every edit and start using animation presets. Now, while using animation presets that contain keyframes, you might face this error that some keyframes don't fit onto your clips. And instead of just dragging them one by one to make them fit your layer and totally ruining the aspect ratio between them, you can just select all of them and while holding down Alt, drag the last one and make it fit your clip. This is a huge time saver, so you don't have to adjust them manually and can just do it one by one. By doing that, you also preserve the graph that you created and don't just randomly change it. Now note that these are just a few of all the steps that you have to learn as a beginner. And if you're interested in learning more about After Effects and how to edit, you definitely want to check out my channel because I have tutorials covering every aspect of After Effects. You can find tips to the algorithm, you can just learn After Effects, or have me react to one of your edits. And if this video helped you, make sure to like and let me know in the comments which of these tips helped you the most. As I said, don't miss out on the huge opportunity in my shop. There's still a huge sale going on. It's not going to be lasting forever. That's it. I thank you for watching and see you next time.